This is Back Beach at South West Rocks in New South Wales. There's a large infestation of Asparagus aethiopicus, ground asparagus, on the dunes just behind us. The Back Beach dune and its cloak of littoral rainforest is relatively young and it's still developing.
In about 1900, the river broke through there. The river used to come out at the next, if you follow that beach along, you'll see there's a rocky headland. Yeah. That's called Grassy Head. The Macleay River used to come out there. And then in a big flood in the turn of the century, it just pushed straight through the sand dunes and came out here. And I gather it used to do that regularly. It had pushed through the sand dunes, the sand had built up and the river had just meandered behind the dunes. But they decided that they would make that a permanent entrance, so they put that break wall there. But when they put the break wall, that changed the whole dynamics of the sand movement here, and this built up. The original vegetation was back a couple of 100 metres that way. I've seen photos in the late 1940s where this was just windblown sand. So this is a relatively new system. When the dunes were building up, it was all open, and it was about the same time as Bitu bush was coming into the area through the sand miners. And so you had this perfect conditions for it to colonise. Luckily some of the native plants got in as well, so there was a mix of natives and weeds. This forest is probably only 30 to 40 years in its development, so it's relatively recent. And it's starting to develop into a reasonably complex rainforest back here, which is great from our point of view, because rainforest is so good at shading out most of the weeds we're dealing with. So this area, there's about 5 hectares of asparagus here, and it was virtually a carpet underneath, and there was no way we could do that by hand. So what we've done is we've used a spraying application and got the contractors to spray, and they use a mix of metsulfuron, which is brush off, glyphosate and a wetting agent. Right. And the wetting agent allows the herbicide to stick onto the fine leaves of the asparagus, and we're finding that we're getting a very good kill rate, because in here there's just the density, you couldn't dig them out, with the resources we've got available anyway. If you stand here, you start to get a bit of an idea what the asparagus was like. All of that was once asparagus, and so you just walk through a field of it. If you look around under here, you can see what the effect of the spraying's been.
Yeah, very effective.
Very effective, and it really was asparagus this thick, and we couldn't see any of these seedlings at that stage. So we're now getting tuckaroos back, and we're also getting quite a few seedlings of the asparagus. But our plan here is just to let them go. They're not going to flower this year. They'll probably be lucky to flower next year, and we'll just come back and do another spray treatment. Right. And we don't want to spray them at this stage because there's a lot of native seedlings coming up, so we don't really want to end up with any of that residual in the soil and weakening the native trees. But you can see the canopy here on the tuckaroos is really quite dense. Yeah. So once we get the asparagus out, the seedlings will come back, but we're expecting to get a few more rainforest plants back. Yeah. And then after the second spray, we'll reassess how we deal with them, whether we come back and remove them by hand, the new seedlings, or we come back and do another follow-up spray. But luckily we've got 3 years of funding for this site, so that allows us to come back and plan for the 3 years. On the other site we've got 6 years of funding, so we can do a really good long-term plan there as well. The root competition from the asparagus is amazing, and I'll show you out here why that is. Also, when you remove the asparagus, any seeds that are in the ground get enough light that they can germinate, so there's a mixture of things happening, and we're starting to see quite a good germination coming up in here. But we're so lucky to have as much tuckaroo as we've got. Now this area was really total asparagus, and I'll show you how you can tell that. If you come and stand on here,
Oh, look at that.
It's like
Oh, it's so spongy.
it's like soft fall playground,
Yeah.
and the reason it's like that is, have a look at.
So that is your carpet. Oh no, that's your carpet.
Great getting the photograph of that because I'm trained to Guthrie. So it was a good option.
We're not down to the soil yet.
What a thick carpet.
So you can. No, that's right. So every time it rains, you've got this sort of root mass sucking up all the moisture, sucking up all the nutrients. So if you're a tree growing or anything else growing around here, you've got to compete with this huge root mass. And so now I'm down to the sand. So that's probably 200 millimetres, 8 inches of root mass.
How long will it take for this all to decompose?
Things will be able to start to germinate into this now. You know.
Spraying asparagus ferns probably one of the most labour-saving things that bush regenerators have ever come up with. I honestly think that one person can probably cover 40 or 50 times the square metres that a person can do doing it by hand. On this site I'm working in conjunction with West Rocks Dune Care group, and they have the most fantastic lot of volunteers, because you can get the contractors to come in and do all this sort of rough hack work, and then the group can come in and do the follow-up. So I think if you are a Dune Care group sort of working in collaboration with a contractor, can be a very good arrangement.